In my Minesweeper project here, I have a timer. The moment I start playing the game, you notice the timer starts to increment. Let's say so this must be a mine. This is not a mine. I mean, I can go on and play this. Okay, so that's not bad. Lots of things opened up. So this must be a mine. This is not a mine. This must be a mine. Well, then this is done. Let's just try something here. So this must be a mine. Okay, so the timer is moving. Notice. Let me try to solve this thing correctly. So this must be a mine. This is not a mine. Then this is not a mine either. So I've got two over here. This must be a mine. So that's three. So I've got three more to go. So this is not a mine. This is not a mine. This must be a mine. This is not a mine. Now I must have this and this as the mines, which means this is not a mine. And then I think this is the last one. Let me just be a little bit sure. And I finish this. Notice the moment I finish this, in 1 minute and 2 seconds, no more mines to be found. I found all the mines. In fact, everything is green and I have won it. Now let's take another scenario where I start playing the game, you know, but I lost it because I was playing kind of randomly, and the timer stopped. So this was just in 2 seconds. In fact, I can reset it. Timer goes back to zero, and the game starts again. Unfortunately, I again lost it. So if I let's say start this, you notice the timer is now moving. If I win, that's good. But if I lose, so I know there's a bomb here. If I click on this, I lose this and the timer stops. So this is what we are going to build in this video. Basically a timer functionality. This is enhancing the Minesweeper project from the YByte Python curriculum available at www.ybyte.in. Now, in fact, this timer here is very, very, very similar to what we had done in enhancing the Wordle project, and hence I'm going to reuse some of that infrastructure. So I will just start with some code which I've kind of taken from elsewhere. Reason is we have done this before, the exact same code we had used earlier. So I create a timer label. I haven't yet rendered it here, but I'll create a timer label. I'll put it on the same frame as the two controls here. So it's going to be called the control frame for me. Uh, Control frame, and I'm going to put this on column 2 so that my timer appears on the right side. Now, apart from this, I have got functions to update the timer, the start, stop, reset, the stopwatch. Now, I've spoken in detail about this when we first implemented these timers, these functions in context of the Wordle project. I'm linking that here so that you can take a look. But with these four things available to us, let us see how we can use these. Basically, the idea is that the timer starts when any of the cells is clicked. It stops when we win the game or when we lose the game, which means we win the game, finishing all the, finding all the mines, lose the game by clicking a mine, and also it resets when the game is restarted. Now, with these things in place, in fact, we have all the infrastructure ready to kind of make it all happen. Remember, these basic functions are available to us, and they are basically to start the time watch, stopwatch, stop the stopwatch, reset the stopwatch, and we have this one function which helps us to kind of keep the clock running. Like I said, we've spoken about this in the past. So, when the game first starts, I'm going to, like when the game first starts, I create the field and all of that, update the field. I'm going to say, well, reset my stopwatch at this point of time, because that sets up the entire, let's say, stopwatch, sets it to zero and so on and so forth. Now, when I click on a button, right? When I click on any button to start the game, basically, I will, the function that's called is this on click. So if I were to, let's say, get here, I'm just going to say, well, if the stopwatch is running, well, actually, stopwatch is, let's say, not running. If not stopwatch running, remember, stopwatch running is a global variable coming from those functions. So it's a global variable. If it's not running, I'm just going to say, well, start the stopwatch. Now, when I win this game, right? So when I win this game, basically, let's say player wins this, I need to stop the let's say stopwatch. So I just call this function stop stopwatch, and that kind of takes care of everything. When I, let's say, go and click on a bomb, right? So which is basically this scenario. If clicked on the bomb, so that's the situation that the game must end. Once again, I'm going to say, well, stop the stopwatch. In both the scenarios, the stopwatch stops. When I reset the board, right? So let me just search for the reset, uh, say board. When I reset the board, I must also reset the stopwatch. So I'll just go and say, well, reset the stopwatch. And really, this should be all. Let's see this in action. Okay, so one mistake I had made, I need to import time because that's the basis of this whole function anyway, right? Um, so when I now run this, you notice I start the game, timer has started. So let's try to win this. So this is a mine, this is not a mine, this is not a mine. Well, this is not a mine, this is not, none of this is a mine in fact. This is also not a mine, so this must be a mine. This is not, this is not, this is not. This also is not, so there has to be two, so this is a mine. So I've got 7 more to go, long way in fact. So this is here a mine, and this must be a mine too because there's a 3 over here. Given this is not a mine, and this is not a mine either, right? So I've got these two. This is not a mine, this is not a mine, this is not a mine, right? So we are making progress. This is not a mine. Okay, so a lot of things open up. This must be a mine, this is not a mine. Okay, so this is not a mine over here. However, this must be a mine. And given this, all right, so here I'm stuck a little bit, I guess. So let's see from here, right? So this must be a mine, this is not a mine, this is not a mine, this must be a mine, this is not a mine, this is not a mine, this is not a mine. Okay, so I'm almost there, one more mine to go. And basically I think so I've got 2 over here, so these 2 are done. So this can't be a mine, so this must be a mine. This is not a mine. If I click on this, look, I won the game. The game stopped. So perfectly exactly what I wanted. Let me reset this. Timer goes back to 0. Let me now play randomly and try to lose. Well, I was quite fast. In fact, I lost it really, really fast. So, but let some time elapse. Start this again. So notice time is moving. Let's just try, do something random. So this is a mine for sure. I click on this, the game stops, right? So again, like I said, the basic mechanics of this, we've spoken about elsewhere in the Wordle project. I'm linking that video here so that you can take a look at it. Once these functions are available, it's quite easy to build this timer feature in the Wordle game itself. I hope this was interesting to you. Building activities and adding features to them in the way we are doing is always a good way to learn programming because it channelizes our energy and that gives us a direction as well. Look at our website www.ybyte.in because we learn Python programming through such fun activities. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.